Everything is freaking expensive right now. The family and I went to Jimmy John's the other day for lunch, and it was $50 for 4 sandwiches. Now, I know it can't cost that much to make a sandwich these days. But what would you say if I told you there was a few players out there at a discounted price that score some fantasy points? So today, we're going to be looking at a few players that have finished inside the top 15 at their position in the past, yet right now, rank outside the top 25 at their position. Now, it just so happens that I have a signed jersey from one of the players we're talking about in today's video. A signed Terry McLaurin jersey right here from our friends over at Pristine Auction. Now, do you want to win said Terry McLaurin jersey? If you do, it's super simple. Make sure you have a free account signed up through pristineauction.com, link down below in the description, but be sure to use promo code HEADLINERS when you sign up for that free account. We'll put a $10 coupon into your account to use towards maybe a future auction that you may win, but then you're going to be eligible for the Terry McLaurin jersey giveaway. Then hit the like button, leave a comment down below, and then you're good to go. I'll be picking a random winner once this video has over 750 likes, so make sure to hit that like button because I want to give this jersey away really soon to somebody in this community. But for now, let's talk about some discounted studs here in 2023. And since you already know that Terry McLaurin is going to be a part of this show, let's start off here with Terry McLaurin, who's currently wide receiver 26 over on Underdog Fantasy, but doesn't it kind of feel like he's coming off what seemed like a down year for Terry McLaurin? But what if I told you he just had the best season of his NFL career, finishing as wide receiver 14 overall on the year and just 10 points shy of being inside the top 12 at the position? Now, he hasn't missed a game in 2 years, has had 77 receptions in each of the last 2 seasons, and hasn't had less than 1,050 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns in a year over that same time span. But now we turn to quarterback Sam Howell, who the organization seems to have a lot of faith in. Dude was overlooked during the NFL draft, but he can play ball. And what I love about Sam Howell is he isn't some scared dink and dunk type quarterback. And having a quarterback that likes to go deep, it's really going to benefit Terry McLaurin, who's seen his yards per reception increase 3 straight years here in the NFL. Now, I also love that on the opposite side, we have Jahan Dotson, a very capable wide receiver too, that's going to command some defensive attention. It's going to leave a lot of single coverage going the way of Terry McLaurin. Now, the wide receiver 26 last year was Zay Jones. He scored 157 fantasy points, almost 34 points less than what Terry had just last year. Now, can Terry surpass right around 75 receptions for 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns in 2023? That's really all he would need to surpass the current ranking of wide receiver 26, a discount stud, in my opinion. What about another wide receiver, Michael Pittman of the Indianapolis Colts, who is currently wide receiver 28 over on Underdog Fantasy? If you haven't signed up for Underdog yet, you really need to. Be sure to use that promo code HEADLINERS when you do make that minimum deposit. You're going to get a free draft guide, and some of these guys are guys that I'm going to put on my best ball team at this discounted price, because Michael Pittman at wide receiver 28, don't forget, back in 2021, Michael Pittman finished as wide receiver 15 overall and had 1,100 total yards and 6 touchdowns. Then 2022 happened, and dude maybe had the worst quarterback play of any other team in the NFL. It was a mixture of a washed Matt Ryan, a washed Nick Foles, and Sam Ehlinger. And a whole lot of drama when it came to the head coaching there as well, but he still ended with 140 targets, 1 reception shy of 100 on the year, 4 touchdowns, and led all wide receivers in the NFL when it came to route wins with 248. This guy can beat his defender. Then in this offseason, the Colts said bye-bye to Paris Campbell, and they brought in a couple guys like Isaiah McKenzie and Josh Downs. But it's also the change at the quarterback position as well, right? They brought in a raw rookie in Anthony Richardson, who we all love, right? But he's going to take a little bit of time to develop in the NFL, but the quarterback play this year shouldn't be any worse than what Pittman saw last year. It's a quarterback that can extend plays, really excels when it comes to delivering the ball deep down the field, and we have a wide receiver that wins routes and has won over 50% of the 50-50 balls deep down the field. It sounds like a match made in heaven here between Michael Pittman and Anthony Richardson. Now, last year, the wide receiver 28 was Jacoby Myers. He scored 146 fantasy points, which was like 21 points less than what Michael Pittman scored last year, coming off of a down year. At the wide receiver 28 price tag with this potential ceiling, huge discount right now for Michael Pittman. But how about a couple running backs? What about James Conner? And you just went, right? I kind of feel the same way when I'm talking about James Conner, but he's currently running back 26 overall on Underdog and is a huge discount. I know it's not sexy. I do. I have been a fan of this damn team and have rooted for them for 30 years, so I get it. But James Conner hasn't finished with less than 1,080 total yards and 8 touchdowns in each of the last 2 seasons in Arizona. He's had at least 37 receptions and 300 yards in each of the last 2 seasons. He's ranked top 10 at the position in fantasy points per game with 13.6. That's more than the likes of Aaron Jones, Dalvin Cook, Ramondre Stevenson, Miles Sanders. Should I continue with the list? The Cardinals are obviously committed to him. They didn't bring anybody in worth a crap in free agency, and they didn't even draft a running back early in this year's NFL draft. We know Kyler Murray, coming off of a torn ACL, he may not be 100% to start the season, which means, you guessed it, more running. Now, this offensive line, it's not good, but it's not any worse than it has been over the last decade. Now, when we're looking at the running back 26 overall last year, that was Raheem Mostert, who scored 152 fantasy points. Conner scored 25 more points than that and missed 4 games last year. 1,100 total yards, 30 receptions, 4 touchdowns aren't some crazy stats that he needs to surpass this year in order to outperform running back 26. Potential discount here for James Conner. What about David Montgomery, who's currently running back 27th overall on Underdog? And I am well aware of the fact, don't leave a comment down below and be like, this dude doesn't know they just drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. I was at the draft. I know he was there and he went 12th overall. But the Lions ran the ball 480 times in 2022, have one of the best offensive lines in all of the league. Now, sure, Jahmyr Gibbs, he's going to be a difference maker. He's going to be all over the field. The dude's probably even going to be in the slot at times. But they just paid Monty $11 million guaranteed to fill that quote-unquote Jamal Williams role that we saw just last season. So really, from the outside looking in, we have Jahmyr Gibbs, who's going to fill that role that we always wanted DeAndre Swift to be, and we have David Montgomery to fill what we had with Jamal Williams. Monty has never had less than 1,000 total yards and 6 touchdowns in each of his first 4 seasons in the NFL. Plenty of weapons on the outside here on this offense, an improved defense, which means games could be closer, which equals, yes, more running, and we know that's one of the highest scoring offenses in the NFL. Also an offense that has vacated touches in the backfield. Right now, I'm not touting Monty as some top 12 guy here, but at running back 27, last year's running back 27 was Dameon Pierce, and he didn't even play the entire season. The dude missed the last month of the year and really started slow. If you remember right, he didn't get a big opportunity to start the season. But don't get me started if something were to happen to Jahmyr Gibbs. We'd be seeing a whole lot of Monty like we saw a whole lot of Jamal Williams last year. Could be an explosion in the Detroit backfield if that were to happen. 1,000 total yards, 5 touchdowns isn't out of the question this year for David Montgomery, replacing a guy who's coming off a season with 1,100 total yards and 17 touchdowns. Definitely doable for David Montgomery to be a huge discount. But there were a lot of other running backs that I kind of feel are at a huge discount right now. We have Dalvin Cook. Even if he is released by the Minnesota Vikings, he's going to play somewhere. Is it going to be Tampa? Is it going to be Dallas? Is it going to be Miami? Either way, he's still fantasy viable and at a huge discount right now. Cam Akers even, he seems to have regained the favor of the coaching staff in LA. They didn't bring anybody in this offseason to really challenge him for touches in this backfield. Javonte Williams, if he is healthy this offseason, this dude could be the steal of the draft. What about Alexander Madison, right? If Dalvin Cook leaves, who's the number 1 guy in Minnesota? It's Alexander Madison. He's at a huge discount. Joe Mixon, everyone hates him, but Cincinnati is still dedicated to him, and now there's no Samaje Perine in the backfield to take away touches. What about Alvin Kamara? Could be suspended. Don't know if he's going to be suspended just yet. He's a discount. Jamal Williams. If we don't have Alvin Kamara, we have a whole lot of Jamal Williams once again in New Orleans. And then Ezekiel Elliott. Rumors of him going to Tampa Bay. He's going to have a role somewhere once again as well. And another guy that could be a discounted play for you in fantasy football in 2023. But you got to remember, I'm not saying these guys are going to be top 12 guys, but where they're currently being drafted, they are at a huge discount to really outperform where you're going to be taking them. And we love those kinds of discounts when it comes to fantasy football here in 2023. But do me a favor, who are you looking at as some discounted studs? Leave those comments down below. You already got to leave a comment so I can pick a random winner for the signed Terry McLaurin jersey, right? Hit the like button, 750 likes. We're going to give that away, so make sure your account is signed up at pristineauction.com. Link down below in the description. But for now, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day and do your part to make the world a better place.